Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvichesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarini Jayo Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narancheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam तथो जयमुद्धीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be seeing the prayers of Vitrasura. Okay, I think last weekend, last weekend, we covered what was the prayers, Mataji. So the last prayers were of.
I
Okay, I'll just let me recollect. We did. Okay, Dhruv Maharaj was done, and it was fifth chapter, though, right? Okay, I think.
Yeah, Prabhuji, even I'm not able to recollect.
Oh, that's okay. So anyhow, so today we'll actually continue with this prayers of Vitrasura. Okay, so here, right, there are beautiful prayers with Vitrasura gives in, right? So there are only four shlokas which he has glorified the Lord, so which are like Chatur shlokis. Okay, so he has glorified the Lord wonderfully. Okay, so as we discuss, right, for in all the classes. So first we'll just we'll just go backwards, right? So we'll just try to understand about a little bit about Vitrasura. Okay, so Vitrasura actually was born out of the sacrifice. Okay, so basically the sacrifice was done by Twasta. Okay, so you can say that Twasta was his father. Okay, so basically why Twasta was actually performing this sacrifice. Okay, so that we'll have to understand. So wherein basically if you look in, what happened is Indra. So Twasta is again the father of Vishwarupa. Okay, so he was a Brahmana, and so who was actually doing all yajnas for Lord Indra. Okay, by then. So what happened here is so in the yajna, right? So Vishwarup was actually while doing the giving the oblations to the yajna, right? So he was actually giving it one portion to the demons also. Okay, so and then this Indra got to know that he is doing the sacrifice for both. So for when it comes to the demigods, he was actually uh, doing he used to chant loudly, and then when it was for demons, he used to chant slowly. So what Indra did is, out of anger, he actually killed Vishwarupa. Okay, and then he was a Brahmana, right? So he was not supposed to be killed in that way, but yeah, so he killed him. So which actually gave pain to Twasta. Okay, and then Twasta actually started doing the sacrifice. So he started the sacrifice to kill King Indra. So he was chanting the mantras, okay, and then he chanted mantras to increase, basically to increase the enemies of Indra so that he can be killed, okay. But because he was chanting the mantra wrongly, okay, so what happened is the sacrifice produced the enemy of Indra, who is nothing but an asura, and his name is Vitrasura, okay. So Vitrasura was generated from the sacrifice, okay. So his features made the whole world afraid, okay. So he was very huge, okay, and then day by day he was growing, right. And by seeing him, right, so a lot of the demigods and all, right, so they were actually fearful, okay, and s- everyone felt the danger, okay. So he was very powerful asura, okay, so he's not like normal asura, okay, so he was actually tall, blackish, right, and then so the hairs and beard, mustache, all were in molted copper color, right. His eyes were red. He appeared unconquerable. Yeah? So, and if he shouts, right, dancing and shouting with a loud voice, right? So if he does that, right, so the entire surface of the earth will tremble. Okay. So if he yawns, so it looked to be that he'll swallow the whole sky. Okay. So he was having all gigantic features. Yeah. So and then, so if he opens his mouth, right, it could be like his lower jaw touches the earth and the upper jaw touches the sky. Okay. So he was very huge. Okay. And then he actually covered all the planetary systems, right? And people were all the demigods were fearful of him. And then the demonic influence was more. Okay. So what happened is, as we know, right? So whenever these things happen, right? So the only option which the devatas have gotten is they went to the Lord. Okay, so it's none other than they went to the Vishnu and then they said that they put forward their case. So they did glorify initially, and then they say that okay, this is the situation we are in, wherein there is a demon Vitrasura, and then the demigods couldn't fight also. Okay, so there was nothing they could do much there. Yeah, even Indra was also not able to fight with them. So it was in such a situation. Okay, so what happened is. They put their petition, and then after hearing their petition, right, so the Lord appears and then he says that, so he gives the solution. Okay, so he says that, so you'll have to go to Dadichi Muni. Okay, so Dadichi Muni was one of the exalted Muni. So, okay, so they said that, so you'll have to go to that saint, right, and then so because he was meditating on Narayana Kavacha, so his body has become very strong. Okay, then it was instructed that uh, our Indra and the demigods, right, they'll go to Dadichi and then ask for his body. Okay, and then out of his bones, right, the thunderbolt would be created. Okay, and then that is the only weapon using which our Vitrasura could be killed. So there was no other option. Okay, so you see, and then the demigods along with Indra go to Dadichi Muni and then they ask, they say that, so please give us your body, say we'll use, okay, we'll use to create an weapon, right? And then they actually told these all things, but again, to actually play around, right? So Dadichi Muni says that no, I can't give my body. because I'm also too attached to my body, so I can't give it. So he was just pulling their legs. Yeah. And then when he got to understand that his body, because his whole purpose was uh, to actually go back to Godhead, right? And then, so when his body is useful, um, so for Vishnu, right? So whatever Vishnu has instructed, so whatever the Lord has instructed, right? So he says that it's fine, and then after that he says that that's fine. I'll leave my body in a day or two. Okay. He says, and then post that you can actually take my body, and then you can do whatever is needed. Okay. So the Aditya Muni is fully controlled of his life, air, his senses, everything, right? So he's in trance. So what he does is he says that in a day or two, right? So I'll actually leave this body. So he went into trance, and then he left his body. Yeah. And the body was here, and then he went back to Godhead. So what happened is then thereafter King Indra took his bones to Vishwakarma, right? And then with the enlightened power of the bones, right? So there was a thunderbolt which was being created for Lord Indra to fight against the Vitrasura. Okay. So now this is the weapon which he got in, right? And then after that, right, um, the King Indra, so now there was a battlefield between the demons and divine, right? So the Devatas and the demons started to fight. And then now all these demigods, right? So they got the power. So they got all their luster back with this powerful weapon which was on their side, right? So with that, now they were able to actually tackle the army of Vitrasura. Okay. So as they had got this power, right? So whatever from the demons, right? So whatever they were throwing, right? So they could easily actually uh, say nullify it, and then say on the contrary in return, right? So they were actually able to kill the opponents, and then so seeing this, right, the demons actually fled. So they were going helter skelter, and then they wanted to protect their lives, right? So they were actually running away from the battle. But the demigods, right? So even those who were running away from the battlefield, right, they were actually catching them. So they were running after them, and then they were catching, and then they were killing them. So all these scenes, right, Vitrasura saw. And then Vitrasura actually is the commander in chief, right? So he said that this is not good. And then he actually asked all his demonic friends that hold on, so this is not the right way to do, right? So in a battlefield, we should not show our back. So we should fight for the cause. So, and then, so if we are, our job is to fight this battlefield, and then if we win, right? If we win it, if not, right? So that's our destiny, and then so we are meant. So as per rule, right? So we shouldn't actually do, because even if you look as a kshatriya, right? So the kshatriya's business is either to win or lose. So if there is a battlefield, right? So either he wins or loses. So he never turns his back and then go back, right? So in either case, if he wins, then he'll get the kingdom. If he doesn't, right? So if he has done good deeds, then he'll go back. He'll get liberated. So he was trying to explain, and then saying that this is not the way to do. So he says that we should not uh, move away. Okay, but still, so and then he says that don't look at the defeat and all those things. So we have come here, so let's fight it. Okay, but so nobody actually. listens to him, and then they move on. Say Vitrasura could not stop him. So then Vitrasura actually now starts discussions with the demigods. He says that now, so we know that the demons are of low class, and then so they don't know, right? So they don't know about the rules and regulations and all those things. So he says that it's not good on your part, right, to actually kill, right? So we are also doing a wrong thing, right? Because they are of they don't know, they are actually fleeing away, and then the one, if the enemy is not in the battlefield, and then earlier days those were the rules, okay? So unless if the opponent is taking sharanagati or something, right, they'll not kill them. So here in this situation is also same thing, right? People are actually fleeing the battlefield, and then he says that this is not good on your part also, right? So this is not heroism, right? And then this all things you're doing for your sense gratification, which is not right. Okay. So saying that, Vitrasura now roars. Okay. So he, he becomes angry, and then he roars, and then he says that, so if you have any, if you want to fight, then come and then show your heroism with me. Okay. By the time Vitrasura roared, and then his furious presence, by seeing that only, right, half of the demigods got fainted. Okay. And by then you might be seeing, right, say the qualities of Vitrasura, right? He's an Asura, but he has got all qualities of a Vaishnava, right? So till now, if you see, right, so he's stopping, he's telling there, okay, the demigods also. And then now further what happens is the fight starts, and then what happens is Indra actually strikes. So Indra has a gada. So he throws that towards Vitrasura. Okay. He throws his club. Okay. So Vitrasura catches hold of that club, and then he hits that club on the head of Indra's elephant, Airavata. Right. So the, the power with which it was struck, right? So the elephant moved 14 yards backwards, and then it started bleeding from the head. So basically, King Indra was actually thrown away 14 yards away with the reverse strike of the same club with Vitrasura. Okay. Because Indra thought that this is the club using which I have won so many battles, and then this demon I can kill it. So he thought in that way, and then he did it. So when the counter reaction he saw, right? So Indra also got tensed now. And because Indra was one who has done 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas, right? So he's also a powerful person, right? So, but still his power is not withstanding in front of Vitrasura. And then as Indra had power, right? So he has Amrita and all those things, right? Somaras and all those things. So he actually made the elephant again enlivened with his hand. So he made the elephant recovered with all things. And then Vitrasura actually saw the condition of Indra, so he is little bit backward, and so he gave a chance. He said that okay, let him settle down. So it's not that the opponent is actually uh, so the Airavat and everything is bleeding. So he said, and then there Vitrasura actually tells. Indra, saying that so you have done an heinous act by killing my brother, right? So you have killed a Brahmana. So this is not the right thing, right? So the reason he did is for actually Indra is always interested in his post, right? So to live in the heavenly planets, right? He killed a self-realized qualified Brahmana, right? Who was the chief priest. Yeah? So Indra actually didn't think otherwise. So being at an exalted position, right? So he says that you have bereft, and then he actually provokes Indra. Okay, and say now again he says that the reason and the other thing, so in this battlefield, right, Vitrasura knows that he will die, and then he has come to lose the battle. Okay, so he knows that Indra has got the weapon, and then he'll kill him. So this is a battle. This is a unique battle where Vitrasura is fighting to lose. Okay, so after doing this, right, he says, so now Indra is speechless. She's not understanding. So this is a demon who is actually speaking so many good qualities, and then so he understood that this is a demon who has all high qualities, right? Who's an elevated soul. So then he says that you you'll have to come and fight, yeah. So and then he again provokes. So Lord Indra actually now cuts one of his hand, okay, of Vitrasura, right? So then Vitrasura actually counteracts, and then now Indra actually falls down, and then he leaves his thunderbolt, okay, and then now Indra's situation was in such a way that he was not using the thunderbolt also because he has lost already the club, right? And then he was thinking whether this thunderbolt will work or not. Okay, so he has a doubt. Okay, but on the contrary, right, Vitrasura is completely confident, saying that this is the weapon which is going to kill me, right? So Indra is not picking the weapon, the thunderbolt, to kill him. Okay, and then now in the battlefield, right, if you lose your weapon from your hand, right, so it's an kind of insult to actually pick the weapon again. Okay, so Indra was not picking the weapon. So then again he says that he'll have to pick this again. He only gives him. Vitrasura actually tells him that so you'll have to pick this. Okay, and then you'll have to pick this weapon, and then you'll have to use it. Okay, and you should use this. This is Narayanastra, and then this is the one which you should use in. Okay, so this is what happens until then, and then saying all these things, right? He actually now praised the Lord. Okay, so because he knew that the he'll get. I think again another hand is also chopped off, and now he prays. Okay, so before he leaves his body, right? So he knows that he'll be killed. He prays. Vitrasura actually prays all four slokas. Okay, so which is 6.11.24. Okay, in Bhagavatam. We'll just recite them. Okay. Aham Hare Tava Padikamula Dasanudaasa Bhavitasmi Bhuya Mana Smareteshu Pater Gunam Ste Grinitava Karma Karotu Kaya. Okay. Translation: O my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, will I again be able to be a servant of your eternal servants who find shelter only at your lotus feet? O Lord of my life, may I again become their servant so that my mind may always think of your transcendental attributes. My words always glorify those attributes and my body always engage in the loving service of your Lordship. So, Mataji, can you read this purport?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This verse gives the sum and substance of devotional life. One must first become a servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, Dashanudasha. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised, and he also showed by his own example that a living entity should always desire to be a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna, the maintainer of the gopis, Gopi Bhartuha Pada Kamalayor, Dasha Dashanudasha. This means that one must accept a spiritual master who comes in the disciplic succession and is the servant of the Lord. Under his direction, one must then engage one's three properties, namely his body, mind, and words. The body should be engaged in physical activities under the order of the master. The mind should think of Krishna incessantly, and one's word should be engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord. If one is thus engaged in this loving service of the Lord, one's life is successful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So, he is saying that Dasanudas. Okay. So, if you look, right, so he says that he has given, you see, so the sum and substance of devotional life is to become servant of the Lord. Okay. So, because the same words, right? Because we are not so exalted, right? So we cannot serve the Lord directly because we are not that purified. So what we can do is we can always become the das. Okay. We, so even we can't become the direct das. We'll have to become dasanu dasanu das. Okay. So servant of the servant of the servant. Okay. Because the Lord is the proprietor, He is the master, and then we are all das. Okay. Lord is boss, we are das. Okay. And then even we are not das, we are dasanu dasanu das. Somewhere we'll be there. Okay. Because Chaitanya Prabhu, even he said, right? So once they asked him, so what was your religion or so? So he said that, so which sect you belong or so? So he said that I am dasanu dasanu das. Okay. So, and then so we'll have to serve, right? The lineage, so far as at least, right? So our spiritual master is Srila Prabhupada, right? So whatever his instructions are, right? So we'll have to follow through that, right? And then, and so under his direction, right? So whatever he has given, right? So the four regs, the sadhana, and all those things, right? So wherever we get a chance, we will have to serve the Vaishnavas, yeah? So that's the thing, yeah? And then we'll have to control our body, mind, and words, right? So this is what he has said, right? And then he says that when all these things, right, when the body, mind, and words, everything will actually think of you, and then everything would be utilized for your service. Okay. She's asking that, will I again be able to be a servant? You see, so he's putting his requirement. He's praying. So can I become that? Na kaprastam na cha paramesthayam na sarva bahumam na rasadhipe patyam na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasatva viraya kangshe. So he says that, O my Lord, source of all opportunities, I don't desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka, the heavenly planets, or the planet where Lord Brahma resides, nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of all the earthly planets or the lower planetary system. I don't desire to be master of the powers of mystic yoga, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your feet? Mataji, read this purport.
Yes, Hare Krishna. A pure devotee never desires to gain material opportunities by rendering transcendental loving service to the Lord. A pure devotee desires only to engage in loving service to the Lord in the constant association of the Lord and his eternal associates. As stated in the previous verse, Dasanu Daso Bhavi Tasmi, as confirmed by Narottama Dasa Thakura. Tandera Charana Seva Bhakta Sane Vasa Janame Janame Haya
Yeah.
A Abhilasha.
Hmm.
To serve the Lord and the servants of his servants in the association of devotees is the only objective of a pure, unalloyed devotee. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here he says that I don't want the pleasures of the higher planetary systems, right? So like going into basically, if you look in, right, so the karmis and all, they have an agenda to go to the higher planets and enjoy, right? He says that I don't need all those things, nor I am not interested in the lower planetary systems. Okay, and then I don't want to be. So he's saying that nor I want to become um, liberated, and then with the mystic powers, right? So I don't want to go into the Brahma Jyoti also. So my only requirement is to have bhakti, to do bhakti, and then to serve the Vaishnavas. Okay. So he needs, I want liberation if I have to give up your. He says, nor I want liberation. So he only needs the lotus feet. That's it. No other agenda. Clear. Ajata paksha eva eva matram khaga stanyam yathavat satra kushadartha priyam priyave प्रियेव विश्रुतं विशान मनोर अरविन्दाक्ष दिदृक्षते त्वम्. O lotus-eyed Lord, as birds that have not yet developed their wings always look from their mother for their mother to return and feed them, as small calves tied with ropes await anxiously the time for milking, when they'll be allowed to drink the milk of their mothers, or as a morose wife whose husband is always from he's away from home, always longs for him to return and satisfy her in all respects. Yeah? I always yearn for the opportunity to render direct service unto you. So here he says that how the longing should be there. Okay, so for the Lord, right? So how he'll think of the Lord, right? So how you want to meditate on the Lord. So it is something like the birds, the small birds, right? So the newly born birds. So they don't have their wings to actually go into the sky or say fly somewhere and then pick the food, right? So they're fully dependent on their mother, right? And then they're so anxiously waiting for their mother when the mother will bring some seeds or some eatable in her beak, and then when she'll give that food to them, right? So their focus is only on their mother when she goes out, and then when she'll bring some eatables, right? And then they don't have any other uh, business, right? So their full concentration is towards it. So they are so longing for that, right? And then similarly, the calf, right? So we see that the calf is actually tied with a knot, right? With the rope. And then the calf is waiting for the mother. So because the mother goes for grazing, right? So she goes for eating the grass, right? And then so the calf is also waiting. So when before milking the cow, right? The calf is released, right? And then the calf cannot eat grass immediately once it is born, and right, so it is fully dependent on mother's milk. Okay, so so for the calf also, right, there is a lot of longing. So he says that that should be the longing which I should have towards you. So he prays in that way. So there is no other business, right? The calf doesn't understand anything. So he knows about his mother, and then when he'll go to the mother and then get milk, right? And then similarly, he gives another examples of wherein he says that so a chaste wife, right? So whenever the husband is out of town or so is not there in the home, and then for days together, and then she's expecting for his arrival, right? So she is waiting at home. So the kind of attention she has for her husband, right? So that kind of longing, he says that I should always have that type of longing. It's very difficult, right? So he cites all these examples, yeah, and then he says that so all the time I should think of you in that focused way, yeah. So Mataji, I've explained. You just read the purport, no?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
A
Krishna.
pure devotee always yearns to associate personally with the Lord and render service unto Him. The examples given in this regard are most appropriate. A small baby bird is practically never satisfied except when the mother bird comes to feed it. A small calf is not satisfied unless allowed to suck the milk from the mother's udder, and a chaste, devoted wife whose husband is away from home is never satisfied until she has the association of her beloved husband. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mamotas mamot am mamotama janeshu sakyam samsara chakra भ्रमत स्वकराम्भिः त्वान्मया आत्मजाधरघेष्व असक्तचित्तस्य नानाथ भूयात्. So, O my Lord, my Master, I am wandering throughout this material world as a result of my putative activities. Therefore, I simply seek friendship in the association of your pious and enlightened devotees. My attachment to my body, wife, children, and home is counting by the spell of your external energy, but I wish to be attached to them no longer. Let my mind, my consciousness, and everything I have be attached only to you. So he says that I want to get detached, and then whosoever gets a birth in this material life is due to all the purative activities. Okay, and then he says that let let me get detached with all these things, this material things, and then I get spiritually connected only to you. Okay. So these are the four prayers which Vitrasura actually prays, and then so the story winds up when the the death comes in. Okay, so now so Vitrasura's arms are being chopped off, and then so what happens is Vitrasura will again open his mouth, and then he will swallow Lord Indra will be swallowed, and then Indra will actually cut his belly and abdomen, and then he'll come out, and then he'll actually uh, sever his head. So to sever his head, uh, Indra will take almost an year, 365 days. Yeah. So that's the story. So now you might be getting a doubt that how could a demon have all these Vaishnava qualities, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So now if you rewind, right? So Vitrasura is none other than Chitraketu Maharaj in his previous life. Okay. So Chitraketu Maharaj, right? So I'll not go into the whole detail, but I'll tell you. So Chitraketu Maharaj was a great Vaishnava. Okay. So there is a lot of history. So we'll just touch base what is required in this context. Okay. So Chitraketu Maharaj actually had he saw the Lord also, right? Sankarshna. And so because of Narad Muni, right? So Narad Muni instructed him, and then he took the instruction from Narad Muni, and then with those meditation, right? So he could actually see the Lord. Okay, with Shankarshana, he has seen, and then he gets the privilege of an flying machine. Okay, so wherein so he can go to any of parts of the planet. Okay, and so what happened is one day, uh, so he was traveling. Okay, he was actually traveling on to the different places, right? So he went into Kailash. So Kailash is nothing but the abode of
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva. So there he sees that Lord Shiva with all the dignitaries, right? The sages and all, right? So they are actually discussing some topics. There is a class which Lord Shiva is actually giving, and then all the sages are there, and then they're sitting, listening. And then by then, what happens is, uh, so he's giving the class, and Mother Parvati is sitting on the lap. On one side, Mother Parvati is sitting on the lap of Lord Shiva. Okay. So seeing this, right, Chitraketu Maharaj actually who was going, so he said that it was not in a wrong intention. Okay, so he actually said because he said one thing which was wrong is he thought that both Shiva, Lord Shiva, and he are on the same level. Okay, so because both were Vaishnavas, so he thought that okay, so I can actually correct him. So he said that not correct him, but he said that not in a wrong way. He said that so you are such an exalted person, and then this doesn't. You are setting a wrong example of taking a class in this way. He says that. So he says he just tells him. So and then Lord Shiva hears him, and then he doesn't say anything. But Mother Parvati gets angry, and then she says that who are you? And then how can you tell me? Because it happens, right? So for any chaste woman, right? So if someone is actually telling something against the husband, right? It so happens that the wife takes the charge. The same thing happened here, and then she says that, so is this your business to give feedback, and then you revolve around all the places, and then you do all these things? So she became very angry on Vitrasura, and then she said that, oh my son, in the next life you'll become a demon. Okay, she curses her. So Vitrasura actually, with the folded hands, right? He says that whatever you say, I agree. Okay. And then he didn't actually counter curse, or there he didn't do any argument. So folded hands, he received it happily, the curse. Okay. And then I'll say the Lord Shiva, right? So after that, he spoke to Mother Parvati saying that you're beautiful, but your beauty has become less today. Because he says that look at the devotees of Narayana. So they have taken more, they are more beautiful, or that they've taken an upper hand than you because of their self-realization. Though you curse them for no um, issues, he has readily accepted, and then they're ready to go to the hell also. He's ready. He's to go to the demonic thing, right? And then the only ask which Vitrasura had is, so wherever he goes, right, he should be an devotee of the Lord. So that I think so that was being given, that was awarded to him. And then the next life he has become Vitrasura. And then it was Lord's pastimes wherein this thing happened. And so the thunderbolt also was created for him. So once he was killed, right, he went back to the Godhead. That is what the God also wanted for, and Vitrasura also wanted. So that is how he had all the Purva Janma vasanas he was carrying in this Janma also. So that's the reason he was able to actually advance in spiritual life, right? So this again, and so we know, right? We read in chapter 2 that whatever bhakti we do, right, which is never diminished, right? So even a little bit of bhakti will actually advance in our spiritual life, right? So wherever we are stopped, it starts from there. So this is nothing but Neha Vikramana Shosti Pratyavayo na Vidyate Swalpapyasya Dharmasya Trayato Mahato Payat. So this is what the shloka is, right? And then this is very apt here, right? And then one more thing which we can understand from Vitrasura is that so anyone can be an devotee. It's not that demons cannot be a devotee, right? Or by the look and feel, right? So we shouldn't judge people saying that, okay, oh, you see him, इसको देखो कैसा है, ये क्या devotee है. That's not our business. So anyone can be a devotee. So we'll have to be very careful and cautious. We don't know who's who, right? And then when somebody is going to be an exalted person, right? So did the Devatas ever dream that Vitrasura will give so many instructions? Never, right? By looking at whatever descriptions we had in the beginning, nobody thinks that Vitrasura has got this many things, right? Being a demon. So that's the lesson, yeah?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So this is interesting, right?
Yes,
Bhagavatam is full of interesting stories. Yeah.
yes, Prabhuji. I like all the stories related to Lord Krishna.
Yeah. So, and then if you see here, right, he was a demon, and then he was actually a Vaishnava, and then he wanted to go back to Godhead. And the contrary, right? So there is Lord Indra who has done 100 Ashwamedh yajnas, and then again he's still holding up for his own uh, place. So why is he doing this all battlefield and everything? So again, he wants to retain his position to enjoy the life. He want to enjoy all those materialistic life. You see, so that's the difference between him and Vitrasura. Yeah? Okay. So we'll wind up Mataji for today. Anything you
Eh,
want to ask?
Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, I had a different, not related to this, but one question on why do people, many places, they would always worship Lord Ganesha before starting any other prayer. Does this even apply to in ISKCON temple also? Do they worship Lord Ganesha and then Lord Krishna?
So basically, this is in the normal culture which is there, no Mataji. So like in this karma kanda process, right? So the first thing which they do is they actually invite Lord Ganesha so that they'll not have any obstacles. Okay. So the thing is, we are actually pouring the water to the root. Okay. So it's Krishna who is the source of everything. Okay. And then when we are faithfully worshipping Krishna, right? So there is no need to do all these things. But that doesn't mean that if there are some family rituals or something which you're doing and then which is kind of mandated kind of things, right? So don't make an issue out of it. So you can carry on that, but you can only ask the blessings from Lord Ganesha saying that, so let him give you the power to become a pure devotee of the Lord. Yeah,
Yes, Prabhuji.
yeah, because we are not that elevated, Mataji. So now we cannot say that for everything. So if say you see that there is going to be a situation is will become a bad and all those things, right? So don't get into all those things. So continue that, but with a consciousness that we are looking forward for Krishna consciousness, and then ask the devatas also to give the energy and then the knowledge to move ahead, and then to prosper in our Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Yes, yes, Prabhuji. And one more question I had. In September, somewhere in September, I'm going to attend some conference, and that hotel which I'll be staying in, it's just next to ISKCON Temple, Bangalore,
Okay.
and so which is I would like to go there also, but I don't know what I need to do. I know that I'm going there first time, but now I have a different. I would like to go like mornings and evenings and have the prasadam there and make the best usage of those
Yes,
3 4.
Mataji. So you should do that. So I'd suggest that if you can go to Mangal Aarti, you're saying it's nearby, right? I think you
Yeah.
should visit and then you should go to Mangal Aarti. Yeah.
Okay.
So early morning. So the Mangal Aarti starts in the morning, Mataji. So you should not miss that because
Okay.